And I'll do that right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Of the jury.
We're back. In case you couldn't tell, you're obviously listening to this, so we made a new episode. We are the three dudes after a little week-long hiatus because one of us has gotten famous and now doesn't even live in North Dakota anymore, it seems like.
Not quite famous. I'll take the blame for last week. I'm the one that definitely pulled the plug on the episode, and I tried to blame it on Broden to shield myself from, what do you call it from the accountability that I was supposed to take.
It's all right. I'll wear it.
It's all right because I was ready to pull the plug too.
Yeah, I knew that.
Dead.
I knew that like I was going to be the one to pull it, and I'll take the blame. But I knew you weren't going to be against it.
I wasn't. I was playing poker for 6 hours.
I was
sitting in the
ready
same
to go.
chair.
I had a few drinks in me. Was playing poker for money when I didn't even know I was playing poker for money.
Yeah,
so I was the first one out.
It's really bad if you're playing poker for money and then you're down, and then they inform you later. Hey, that's what it was.
This was actually.
I had a set amount of chips. Went through half of them and they go, oh yeah, by the way, this is for money. And I go, now is the best time to actually tell me that.
The best time was at the beginning, but the next best time is right now.
Yeah.
Isn't that the saying about the tree?
Imagine.
If you're not
best time to hug
it.
a tree. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Different sayings.
You didn't know and then you won. And they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you're like, nice job winning. Here is your $140.
Yeah. That would have been cool.
And then I was said, I cannot in good faith accept that.
Yeah.
I would have lost if this was for money.
I would have played way different.
Would have threw it.
But yeah, we're back. I do apologize for the no episode last week. Hopefully we're gonna get back on a better schedule now. I will be in North Dakota for the foreseeable
Sometimes
future.
life gets in the way, guys.
Yeah.
We're sorry.
And until you guys start liking this shit enough for us to not do other things, other shit is going to get in the way.
Yeah.
So
I like the way you said that, bro.
It's only until after the episode doesn't air. I got a phone call. Said, why did you guys make an episode this week?
Yeah.
I didn't even know you listened every week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's it's like bad news travels fast, right?
yeah, it's like the speed of dark is faster than the speed of light.
Yeah. That goes a lot of things, does a lot of ways.
Black holes.
Runners.
Definitely runners. And that's just a fact.
I saw a fact this weekend that I think the top 30 fastest 40-yard dash times, only like
31 of them were not white.
31 of them were on PEDs, and the other 9 were Usain Bolt.
That's just remarkable.
So out of the top 30, 40 of them.
Yeah, so that's pretty fair. But yeah, getting back to it, we did miss a week, and you guys know that. And we're back, and we got to get an episode in the vault at some point. We got an 11-hour episode coming at some point as well for episode 100.
And a karaoke
episode. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
Maybe this coming weekend we could do the.
I think this next weekend we could maybe. Hey, I'll let you know right now. I won't be able to film on Saturday or Friday. So
yeah, Sunday good. I'll be in Bismarck this weekend, anyways.
You're not going to be here for the
good grief
Super Bowl?
I'll be back Sunday.
Oh, okay,
but I'm in Jamestown Friday, so I lied. I will be gone again. I'll be in Jamestown Friday, and then Bismarck Saturday, and then come back Sunday.
So we're gonna
World Traveler, man. Flying sucks ass, by the way. It's the worst thing ever. But I did fly first class for the first time in my life. Upgraded, cost me $350 to upgrade to first class. It was either that or I sit in the back of the plane in the middle seat for 4 hours.
Is it $350?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I wasn't paying for any other flights, no nothing.
Yeah.
For this whole project. So I'm like, $350, whatever. Right. Everything's reimbursed except this upgrade. I'm just going to upgrade. And I did it, and I could see why people write songs about it, and I could see why people talk about it and enjoy it and like having to do that.
It's that good. Huh?
They give you a full meal. My flight was at 8 a.m., so I got full breakfast. They put like a tablecloth on your armchair. I got a full croissant with a nice spread, full yogurt parfait this big. It had chia seeds, blueberries. It was it was good.
Did they?
Hey, say it on the podcast. Come on. Don't whisper.
Oh, he says.
But yeah, it was really good. And then that was from LA to Minneapolis. When I went Minneapolis to Fargo, back to the peasant seats with the peasants. Where I belong.
come.
Hey, come.
They come.
They come.
That's what he said.
Oh, that's yeah.
Speaking of flying,
Dumb, Broden, fucking dumb.
I didn't want to say it.
I flew once.
I was in an airplane once.
My girlfriend's parents went to Vegas. They flew there and they met some of their family. And her uncle hit a side bet on like some 3-card poker thing. Won like $14,000 on a side bet.
Did you tell me this? Was this
probably
recently?
did.
When was
yeah,
this?
like a week and a half ago.
I probably didn't hear it. I've been gone for a week. That's crazy. Maybe I'm getting like deja vu.
I
envy that person.
I did too.
Yeah. That'll happen.
Yeah, I still do.
You know what deja vu is?
This is really going to get into a Liam saw a video and really understood it, isn't it?
We talked about it on the last podcast.
Yeah. Did we?
I'm pretty sure. I
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say you went in depth and then explained it. No, I think you also talked about something in the brain, synopsis.
Synapses?
Yeah, I thought
neuroplasticity.
Synopsis, like the overview of a story. Yeah. Give me the synopsis.
I will. So deja vu is actually memories and what we see and everything that we interpret day-to-day life is not exactly how we see it. It's just a certain synapse orientation firing.
I'm
so when we
kidding.
get that deja vu, it's because it's something very similar to those are firing, but it's not quite the same. So you're like,
I definitely remember this conversation now. It was about deja vu, wasn't it?
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, that's enough rambling. I'm glad we've got everybody off of the podcast now. It's usually our goal in the first 10 minutes. All right, now that everyone's turned off.
One quick thing we have to give a shout out to Nicholas and Courtney Gorsey. They had their child yesterday night, and it's a beautiful little healthy baby boy. Mom's doing good. Kids doing good.
Gorgeous
Dad's doing
little
great.
baby.
Congratulations,
Hung
Nicholas
like a
and
horse.
Courtney. Huge nuts.
Giant
No,
nuts.
we walk in and Nick and his parents and Courtney are there. And before like anything's even said, Nick's dad just goes, "Yeah, he's hung like a horse."
Jesus.
It's awesome.
What is the
Jeff? What a
what is
gem.
the child's name?
Rory.
Rory. I like it. Like Mr. McElroy?
Exactly like him.
I like that.
Spelled the same and everything.
Yep.
Or like the guy off the Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, I'm not a watcher. My girlfriend just started that though.
Apparently everybody's girlfriend is starting it.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Coming to find out.
God, there's one. That's it. You said Nick, and I was in Fargo last night. I saw Nick Soltis playing blackjack. I don't know who that pertains to, but I think Nick
What's
Soltis.
a Nick?
I think
He's a watcher.
I think he watches.
He does
yeah.
dabble in
Hey,
this
Nick.
a little bit.
Yeah. So
Soltis, hey,
Nick,
buddy.
I don't know if you saw me, but if you weren't supposed to be
We're
there
huge
for some
fans.
reason, I definitely didn't see you.
Yeah,
We're huge fans, Nick.
But
I
yeah.
saw someone that looked like you.
Yeah, I was going to hop on the blackjack table. It was too full, so I just immediately walked away. But yeah, let's get into the episode.
So today we're going to talk about some cartoon conspiracies. Go ahead and hit me with an example if you guys got one.
That Disney puts dicks in their covers of their movies.
Pretty good.
Is that one of them?
No.
No?
These ones are way worse.
All the Pixar movies being connected. From Brave to Monsters, Inc. to Cars to Toy Story to Up, everything.
I'm sure there's got to be some sort of like subtle.
You're telling me you did this episode and you didn't smidgen that one in there?
Smidgen.
Oh, okay.
I didn't.
Trust me, he said they're way worse. We're getting.
Well, I guess
into,
these
like,
are cartoons. Those are like movies technically, but
Yeah.
I see Toy Story right there in the top. So
Yeah,
Well, a cartoon can be a cartoon movie.
it's cartooned. Yeah.
So Liam, what do you have for notes?
It's a lot of aggression going towards you there.
Toy Story 3 is about the Holocaust.
What?
Yeah, dude. These
starting off with a ripper.
Yeah, these things
Okay.
are just off the wall. It's insane.
I love it already.
And that's why I clicked on the article and I said, "Good enough for me," and I copy pasted the whole thing, and here I have it.
And here are my notes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Do
that's
like a research.
It's going to be a bit worse than Disney putting hidden penises on cartoon covers.
What's worse?
But I see the correlation in there. I've seen those pictures.
Have
and
you?
maybe and then you got to wonder. So it's like the Simpsons thing. Like how much of this is dubbed? Like how much of this is like a Photoshop and then someone made this and then it just got widespread.
Yeah, I'm getting
like,
tricked.
Okay, is this real or not?
Have you seen? I don't know if you have this on there, but the reason they created Frozen, do you have this or no?
I don't believe so.
So the reason Disney made the movie Frozen was because when you searched Disney Frozen, like Walt Disney Frozen.
Walt Disney crypto fried himself.
Yes.
Cryogenically froze.
Yes. So they wanted people that to stop showing up on search results. So they created Frozen. So when they typed in Disney Frozen, the movie came up. And then there was one other one, On Ice, something Disney on Ice. I think that's a movie. So they made that one as well to stop like Disney on Ice. So yeah, that's why they made those two movies.
That's nuts.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, there's some stuff going on in Hollywood, man.
Yeah, there is.
Definitely some stuff going
Illuminati's real.
Yeah.
There's but on here, these are more like classic cartoons. Like we got Garfield on here, Snow White.
Okay.
Winnie the Pooh. So
Toy Story Holocaust.
Toy Story is about the Holocaust. Toy Story 3. This theory argues that the entire movie, Toy Story 3, is more or less a Holocaust story. It may seem ridiculous, but there's simply too much evidence to ignore. When Andy is going off to college, the toys start worrying about exactly where they will be sent off to, since they aren't welcome in their own home anymore. Just, in parentheses, just as the Jews were forced from their homes. Not
Seems
funny.
pretty similar.
But
why were you laughing?
Because it's a little, it's just the correlation is just so
image.
like exactly like the Jews.
Yeah.
And so Woody gives a speech to the toys that is eerily similar to the speech given in the Holocaust film The Pianist, and Buzz Lightyear even suggests they all hide in the attic, a nod to Anne Frank.
Yeah, paying a little bit of homage there.
Yeah. Real recognizes real, dude. Like the toys are then shipped off in dark boxes, and they end up at a daycare center where the toys are mistreated and eventually incinerated. Most of the toys may survive in the end, but all clues still point to this being a cartoon rendition of the Holocaust. At least the kids aren't likely to catch on.
Hopefully there's no kids listening to the show.
Yeah, sorry to burst your bubble.
See, the way you put it that way, it definitely sounds pretty Holocausty.
Yeah. Holocaust-esque, if you will.
Do you think people do you think they find stories to fit their narrative, though?
If you're only looking for red, all you're going to see is red.
Yeah.
One of those deals where
It's true.
it's just like, oh, we could make this like that.
Yeah.
But
have you heard so that saying there, when you look for red and you only see red, if I say, close your eyes right now, open it and look for red.
You're doing that Theo Von thing with that.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
So it's super cool that you think of other things that are close to red, like a maroon.
Yeah.
So your brain gives you that feeling of success. Like, oh, I found a lot of things. Like these chairs, well, these are red, right? Maybe they're burgundy. The chair's red. Maybe the table's red. But it's like, so you're counting some browns, just so your brain can trick you into thinking you're more successful.
But there's another saying that says, if it walks like a duck and sounds like a duck and quacks like a duck, it must be a duck.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm kind of getting here.
That was referring back to the Holocaust.
Yeah, the Toy Story thing. Like, everything's adding up here.
It's kind of adding up.
Do you think that writers would do that? They'd be like, well, let's just mirror it off the Holocaust.
Let's kind of spin it off here. Like,
I think there's a story
they fluff up the middle stuff, but then they follow the chronological order of the Holocaust. And they're like, yeah, we kind of ran out of ideas.
In film, like, that's got to be suspenseful and catching, like, a storyline like the Holocaust.
What other world events could you do that for?
Like, to take like a baseline from and turn it into a movie.
Yeah, like if you're like 9/11 that day, you could turn that into a movie. Do you think there are other movies that are based on world events?
I think you could do like kind of like slavery in some sort.
Yeah.
Like some sort of that.
Yeah. Or like a big war.
Yeah.
Napoleon. I'm sure you could do something on Napoleon. He had
Coney,
super confident
2012.
going into Coney 2012.
I haven't heard that.
Man, was I terrified.
I thought it was real.
I did too, 100%. I was worried that the world was just screwed.
Just think how they can convince you of things that definitely didn't happen. And everybody was so sure that was a real thing. Yeah. Holocaust?
Just a smirk from
we might have ourselves a whistleblower over here.
I'm just saying. I've never been there.
Hey, you never know, dude.
I saw a little thing about that. about what do they call it? The Mandela effect, like where like people remember things way differently than what they actually were.
We just
when you remember your Fruit of the Loom underwear didn't have.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up with. They didn't have the cornucopia, but close.
Yeah,
brown spot nonetheless.
Yeah.
But there was this lady that went crazy over this. Like went talked to her therapist, and even her therapist was like, "You got to drop it. You got to get the Fruit of the Loom out of your head." And she went like through her whole closet, her parent, like a bunch of people's closet, and she finally found
a Fruit of the Loom,
with a cornucopia thing on it. And now there's this whole conspiracy that they're doing this, like removing logos and changing stuff like that, just to see if they can erase history.
Yeah, I saw the same thing with the Monopoly guy.
Yes,
the monocle. Does he have a monocle? Right?
Yeah, he's always had a monocle.
You thought he did.
You thought so?
What?
He doesn't.
Exactly.
Knock it off.
Or maybe it's Planters Peanuts.
Monocle,
Mr. Peanut.
top hat, and cane.
Monocle Lewinsky.
You're like, I have a poster, monocle, top hat, cane. It's all on him.
He's putting on the Ritz right next to his peanuts.
Monocle Lewinsky.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we should do an episode on the Mandela effect.
That would be a really good one.
Yeah.
I like
We just
that
did an episode inside of an episode.
You guys are freaking me out.
What if we didn't, but we said we did?
Yeah, what if we said we already
You
did
guys
one?
remember
We
this
already
one?
did this
Yeah.
episode.
You remember the Mandela effect, right? It was in the old space.
The old
Yeah. Good old
Ooh,
days.
you guys are freaking me
Yeah.
out. That just happened to me. I can't remember what it was.
You got Mandela affected?
Yeah, hard. And that brings me to point number 14 on this list.
14.
We started at 15. Now we're
Okay.
at 14. Wile E. Coyote is in hell.
I've never seen Wile E. Coyote.
It's
And
the old
Roadrunner?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, TNT.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I have. Yeah.
All that stuff.
I think there was a video game that I used to play like that. Was there? On like a
Probably.
Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Something like that.
When you literally have to like blow into the to clean out.
In the cartridge?
Imagine that. Yeah.
Oh, that's the N64.
Hey, how do I get
Like
this
a
game to
harmonica?
work? Yeah, but you had to do it with the Sega, the black one. That was actually fantastic representation with the mic positioning.
Dude, I'm
Yeah.
really good at that.
It's like says on the outside of the pack. It's like, how do we play this game? It's like you have to vigorously blow on it. Yeah.
And then it also says, please, whatever you do not blow into these
Does
things.
it say that?
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that. It's really bad for them.
So they say.
It's like the game's gonna start working if you do this. So please don't.
You won't have to
Don't.
buy another
Yeah,
one if
buy
you keep
another
doing this.
Yeah, it's crazy how they just stopped working.
But Wile E. Coyote,
Yeah,
he's
sorry, I cut you
off.
being
dude.
tormented
Oh,
by
hey,
Satan.
that's fine. It's our podcast. We can do whatever we want.
It's true.
Cut off
Say
pod.
whatever the hell we want.
The classic cartoon Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote consists almost exclusively of Wile E. Coyote chasing Roadrunner through a deserted landscape
Definitely have
over
this video.
and over and over again. It's less likely that these two are alone in the desert playing a game of chase, and more likely that Wile E. Coyote is in his own personal hell. Consider how many times Wile E. Coyote gets blown up, or that massive Acme anvil falls on him, and how many times he keeps coming back. It's easy to root for Roadrunner and forget that we're watching Wile E. Coyote relive his worst nightmare every single episode. One Reddit thread took it even deeper, comparing the cartoon to old Greek and Native American myths about hell. Either way, using the theme of perpetual suffering for a supposed family show is a pretty dark choice.
See, I would almost be on the reverse side of things. I think my hell would be getting chased all the time. You imagine?
Yeah.
You're just always being chased by a coyote.
Like what's that old thing? You get $1 million, but a snail chases you for the rest of your life. If
Yeah.
it touches you, you're dead.
Yeah. But it's like a snail, that's a little different. If it's right on my tail all the time,
Yeah.
it's always just trying to bite my cheeks, then you slow down.
You maybe
Yeah.
hit the brake
I
a
feel
little
like
bit.
that would be more of a hell than doing the chasing, you know?
I don't know. Having an anvil land on your head is probably not ideal.
Yeah, but you
Well,
don't die.
You make a good point.
Maybe they're both in hell.
I'd see this one's more speculation.
Yeah.
And
That's not a direct tie like Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3 is pretty concrete
Holocaust,
evidence.
yeah.
Yeah, that's very.
Do you have Ed, Ed, and Eddie on there?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's
I like
on
that
there.
one.
Number 13, Mr. Krabs plans to use his daughter for Krabby Patties. This fan theory is unsurprisingly not a favorite for the fans of SpongeBob SquarePants. According to a Reddit thread started by, not even going to say that name, it's a dumb name. Mr. Krabs is only raising his whale daughter Pearl to eventually kill her and use her for Krabby Patty meat. This Redditor points out that when a whale dies, its carcass can fuel an entire ecosystem for a very long period of time. Pearl's mother is non-existent in the show, and it's unclear as to how or why Mr. Krabs has Pearl in the first place. She could truly be his daughter, or Mr. Krabs could just be putting up with Pearl's crazy spending. I got 2 pages there when I went to go turn. Gosh darn it. Crazy spending habits because he has a bigger goal in mind. This could also partially explain Plankton's role in the series. Plankton is obsessed with figuring out the secret ingredient to Krabby Patties, and while most ingredients are readily available, the burger itself remains a mystery. Whales generally consume plankton, so was this just a sinister clue all along?
Dun, dun, dun.
I read one where the secret ingredient is crab meat.
Yeah. Well, it is a Krabby Patty.
Yeah, and that's why he won't give it up.
Or is it a Krabby Patty
It's a
because
Whaley Whopper.
Mr. Krabs designed the patty?
True. Or isn't the Krabby Patty the actual building they sell it in? This is riveting.
That's
podcast,
the Krusty Krab. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Listen to 3 guys talk about the Krabby Patty.
Hey, this number
What do they
12
call
is
it?
Absolute
The Crab
curveball.
Shack?
The Krusty Krab.
Krusty Krab, that's what it is.
The Krusty Krab pizza.
Yep. I gotcha. Is that pizza? Yeah, I haven't got much more on that one.
No, I mean, we're chalking that one up to speculation again. I mean, could be true, could not be.
Yeah, there's no concrete facts here.
Yeah. We started off hot on 15 with Toy Story.
Yeah.
But we're about to bring it right back up with number 12.
I'm going to read the best one. You guys can click off after that.
This is going to be the best one here, just title alone. The Smurfs are anti-Semitic racists.
Yeah,
Incredible.
So
That's a
far
lot
we
right
have
there.
2 concrete evidence of anti-Jewish cartoons.
Yeah. It's hard
And
to
they're
imagine.
both Disney.
Weird.
Was Walt Disney,
Racist.
where was he from?
Germany.
It's kind of what I'm thinking. It sounds German.
Nathan?
Walt Disney. Where's he from?
Where's Walt Disney from? Walt.
He was born
Franz
at the
Disney.
Nuremberg trials.
Franz. I think that's his middle name.
Heinrich Himmler.
Chicago, Illinois.
The second most racist place in all of the world.
Illinois.
Yeah.
Pretty much, dude.
Yeah. Never been.
See what they're doing there?
No.
You don't want to.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know what they're doing there.
Bad.
It's really bad. It's hard to imagine the lovable blue Smurfs being anything more than wholesome children's entertainment. It's even harder to imagine them literally being racist, anti-Semites living in a socialist society. But this is exactly what Scientologist Antoine Bueno believes is true. He claims that Papa Smurf is a dictator and the villain Gargamel is an embodiment of Jewish stereotypes. But his most convincing example comes from the very first Smurfs comic strip. The first publication of the Smurfs was titled The Black Smurfs. In this story, the Smurfs fall ill, and they turn from blue to black while also becoming incredibly unintelligent in the process. Because of the racist undertones in the comic strip, the U.S. refused to let it see the light of day. The fact that this comic was too controversial to be published in the 1960s says a lot about how accurate this theory could be.
Okay, I got 2 things. One, Scientology is...
That is the starting point for just whack jobs across the world.
And
man.
then it's coming from a Scientologist named Antonio Bueno. Tony Good is this guy's name.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Right.
But
So
Nathan, pull up the hard definition of Scientology.
it's made up. It came like 30 years ago.
Tom Cruise
Tom
is like
Cruise,
the biggest donator to this thing.
He's a nut.
How
And-
can you create... Yeah.
How can you?
Is it a religion or like a...
Yes,
cult?
it's
Yeah.
a certified religion.
Cult religion.
Yes.
A religious system based on the seeking of self-knowledge and spiritual fulfillment through graded courses of study and training.
Basically, you give a bunch of money to these cult leaders, and they give you keys to enlightenment. And the people who run this shit just get super rich off your money,
They
and
get
they
to
give
meet
you
with the
some
board?
bullshit. Yeah, They are their own board, but they're not a good board like we would be.
We're going to be the best board.
We would be.
We're going to be the greatest board.
Not like any boards anybody's ever seen.
The most popular board.
And the people are going to walk into the room and say, wow, what a good looking board.
We got to get this board going.
Yeah.
You guys got to start. You got to start.
Give us
paying
money.
The Patreon. Yeah, and we can get the board going.
We just need people to ask things to the board before we start charging for it. Like,
send us $10 and a question.
Yeah.
We will answer, and we will do it in full regalia.
Robes and all.
Robes, wigs,
pointy hats.
Gavels.
No, I'm not on board with that.
But you're on the board.
But 2 out of 3 vote, dude. You're going to have to. All right. Ed and Nettie are living in purgatory.
Yeah. That's right. They are. Bad little kids.
Mm-hmm.
Purgatory, that's like the time between heaven and hell.
Yeah.
Like when you're just in the floating area.
Like in limbo.
Like where you're good enough to go to heaven, but you got to kind of pay for your sins a little bit.
Where your application's like under review.
Basically.
Yeah.
In the show Ed and Nettie, the boys and their friends seem to enjoy an endless summer with no adults anywhere to be found. While that's not necessarily grounds for assuming they're dead, there are many clues that have made fans wonder. Since purgatory is a loop you can't get out of, the literal loop the children live on, the cul-de-sac, is the one and only setting of the show. While there's no apparent year that the show takes place, both 1972 and 1999 are referenced in different episodes as being the current year. Even stranger, the children's tongues are all green or blue, something that does actually happen to tongues post-mortem. Fans have gone into incredible detail with this theory, chronicling every character and what got them to purgatory in the first place. At least there are worse places to be stuck than in an endless summer with your best friends.
Yeah, and the Canker sisters are demons that are sent to torment them and stuff. If you remember those 3 crazy chicks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's making sense. See, that's on board there with
We could have some
Toy Story 3.
We might have some traction with that one.
Yeah, blue and green tongues. That kind of sells a little bit. Does that actually happen, though?
Yeah, it says it right here.
Yeah.
Postmortem.
It says it right on this piece of paper in front of me.
Yeah, on this article that was written in 2016.
They stopped doing it after 2016. Made sure the tongues just stayed pink.
They probably dyed them.
Yeah, that's it's very interesting. Very interesting.
Very. That's exactly how you
Very
said
interesting. Okay. I got nothing.
that. How about a jawbreaker? What would you guys give for a
Jawbreaker? I had one of those jawbreakers when I was younger, and I licked that thing like I was a cow on a block of salt. You know the big ones?
The big blocks of salt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the big jawbreakers.
Oh, I've seen them in the
big.
show.
Oh, I'm talking in real life. I had one.
I'm talking Mountain Dews, baby. They have them that big in real life?
I was just waiting in line to be the next jawbreaker. Just sign me up, please.
Yeah. So it was probably the size of like a 5-pin bowling ball. You know?
Oh,
What's a 5-pin bowling ball?
Small.
It's like a little. It's like a softball.
Not 10-pin.
Yeah, smaller
Like a
than
softball.
bigger than a softball, I'd say.
Bigger than a softball?
Probably like 2 softballs.
No, it's probably like an inch wider than the softball. But you lick it
Wait, off of one side or overall circumference?
off of like one side.
It's like a 1/2 inch all the way around,
Yep.
which equals an inch.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Add an inch to the diameter.
Okay.
So you lick it, it's white, and it changes colors every layer. It's awesome. I don't know if you guys ever seen Jawbreaker. That's how it works.
I don't
Me and
know.
Jawbreakers got a lot in common.
Me and Jeremy Nelson. We
Oh.
went through one.
Oh.
Did you at the same time?
Yep, we Lady and the Tramped it. Licked one side.
Nathan and I did that today with a piece of bacon.
You guys are something.
Really? Where did you
did.
get a piece of bacon?
The store.
Here? Did you have it here?
No.
Oh,
Where else would you have? Or were you at Lad Shop?
Yeah.
I was going to say.
We had a piece of bacon. We shared it,
Yeah.
and he pussed out.
Yeah. Didn't want to kiss him. Crazy.
See, look at him. He doesn't even want to talk about it. He's so embarrassed.
Good for you, man.
All right. What do we got?
The cars overthrew mankind.
Also, when I had that Jawbreaker, my cousin was shooting airsoft BBs at me. And then my aunt
Were
and
you
uncle.
trapped in a cage? They gave you a jawbreaker and they just...
No, I was trapped in a cabinet.
What? Whoa!
So my aunt and uncle got new cabinets and they had them on the back of a trailer. They haven't installed them yet. So they drove them up back of the trailer. I was smaller. So I went inside of one of the cabinets to hide from the airsoft gun. And when I went to get out, I hammered my knee right through the cabinet, the brand new cabinet, just straight through the front of it. And they, weren't terribly happy about it, to say the least.
Yeah, I can imagine they wouldn't be.
Did you at least offer the jawbreaker as appeasement?
I think I cried out of sadness for doing that to them. I don't think
I think it'd be
happens,
so
dude.
cool to see you cry a little bit.
I don't know if I've ever seen you cry.
Exactly.
Watch
What could I do?
The Notebook with me.
Okay, what could I do that's more fun for me?
I'd watch Pride and Prejudice with you.
How about Saving Private Ryan?
I don't think either of those are going to make me cry.
Marley and me.
I cried at Pride and Prejudice.
Probably also no.
What?
What could make me cry? If we could watch like a video of the Capitals winning the cup again.
That made you cry?
Yeah.
Dude,
If
every
we-
other episode of Grey's Anatomy gets me going.
The Minneapolis Miracle. You're crying
I
at Grey's
thought,
Anatomy?
what?
Yeah.
What? I
What's
totally,
the Minneapolis Miracle?
When Stephon Diggs caught that pass on the sidelines to end the game. They beat
when the
Saints.
Vikings went to
Oh.
the,
NFC Championship.
they didn't even go all the way.
Yeah, who
Crazy.
cares?
But I am fully convinced, and I know in my heart that if the Minnesota Twins won a World Series, I would cry like a little bitch.
Yep.
For sure.
100%. I didn't think I'd cry over a sports team either until I saw the Caps win and I was tearing up.
Yeah.
They got pounded by the Penguins every single year in the quarterfinals. Every year. And they finally beat them. And I'm like, this is the year. And then they won.
Saw the
cried.
Lightning win a couple cups. And
Yep.
that was in there.
hard
But
fought,
the
yeah.
Twins are just, I know for a fact I'd cry.
We might be dead. We might
Before
be
they
dead.
win?
Yeah.
Yeah. Might be.
Fingers crossed we're not.
Eddie
but-
Julian, we trust you.
Eduardo.
So the cars.
I can't remember what you said. I went back to the kicking holes in cabinets. I had good times at my cousin's house on that street. Dude, I stuck a fork in an outlet there one time. And what's crazy is they lived in the house, sold that house, and moved 2 houses over.
They
Yeah.
must have went over to their neighbors one day and they're like, give me that.
Give me that.
Give me that.
I should have bought this house. And then they
Or
did.
buy
Yeah.
it from you.
Because they had a really cool above the stairs. So
You mean upstairs?
no.
And a little attic area above the stairs.
Yeah, so the stairs went
My
downstairs.
grandparents' house used to have one of those. You'd walk up the stairs and there was a little landing and then more stairs to turn right and go upstairs. And above that landing was a storage area. And I'd jump and hop up in there and that was my fort, dude. Like
Yeah.
grandparents were too short, too old to know I was up there. And I could just hang out and I was eating candy, drinking sodas.
Not the same as what I'm explaining. This was like behind the stairs, but I have seen those before.
Yeah.
So this was like, if you're going downstairs on the reverse side of it, like where the ceiling's at, the ceiling's obviously sloped, you go back around and go on top. And there was just a wooden thing you go sit on. And they told us not to sit on it because it's not sturdy. And we did. We sat on it and it never broke. So that's good. But as far as that goes, your little nook and cranny one time, before I bought this house, I went and viewed this house that had one of those. You went down, and to the left was, they call it a canning room. But I'm like, how do you get up there? You had to put a piece of wood over the steps to make like a bridge, like you're a pirate, to climb up into this room. And I was like, okay, this house is a little weird. Go downstairs. Weird. It was just a normal basement. Turned, more stairs. Kept going down. Like, how deep is this house? Went around the corner. Stairs that went into a cement room that was probably, the ceilings were 4 feet tall. It was probably the size of this room, 10 by 10, full of water.
Like stagnant water.
Still water. The ceiling was probably 4 feet tall. The water was 2 foot off the ground. Just water. With a door. And I'm like, that?
And what happened at the showing? That she opened up the door and here's where we keep the water.
No,
Why
no one was living there at the time. It was just an empty house. And I'm like, this house seems a little morbid.
What in the hell?
It used to be bootlegging. They were bootlegging out of there. A little speakeasy.
Yeah.
They were drowning people.
That's what I'm thinking. Like
Was
the only
water
people that
always
could fit.
there? Did they build that house around
Well,
the water?
I was there. It was there the whole time.
They probably did. They probably said, we might never find
hell?
water again. We have to build this house right here.
Yeah. And it didn't get flooded. I know that. But yeah, that house was weird, man. There was an attic, like weirdly in like a bedroom here, but it was also in another bedroom. I'm like, what's going on with this house? There's like a bedroom that was like attached to the garage somehow. It's very weird. Those are the houses that you see in like horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A weird little loop.
Yeah. And I said, it's not for me. Also didn't have light switches.
None.
No. It's just
pressure plates? What?
They had hooks in the ceiling. So then you'd plug a light in and then you'd have to run a cord up and hang a light. Have you seen those? Usually old people have them.
In the whole house?
Yeah.
Was this made in the 1400s?
I didn't ask.
Did you
I
look
saw
at the
the
pictures?
room.
Did you look at the pictures online and genuinely consider I could buy this?
Dude, I'm not going to lie to you. The pictures online look like a normal house because it didn't show the kid drowning room. Okay.
Yeah.
That was out of it. Didn't show the weird canning pirate walk the plank canning area.
Yeah.
Which that room was oddly big. Like you could have went in there and like hung out. And they didn't show the back bedroom that was like weirdly attached to the garage. So yeah, the pictures online were definitely deceiving. Yeah. And then I went there and I'm like, this is interesting.
I mean, at least you had to check it out. It makes for a cool story, but
yeah, that's why I started a podcast. I'm like, I got to get this in episode 70, whatever we're on today. I finally got it in.
Finally.
Got to tell this house story.
Speaking of stories, we're going to talk about the cars overthrowing mankind.
Yes.
It's not often that crazy fan theories are confirmed by the higher ups. We got traction on this one, fellas. No matter how sound a conspiracy may be, it's often led up to the fans to decide for themselves without any real answers. In the case of the movie Cars, a disturbing theory was actually confirmed by the creative director himself, Jay Ward. The theory goes...
I like that name.
Yeah, Jay Ward.
Just one name?
Yeah. That's what I'd do. Jay Ward.
Jay Ward.
The theory goes that in the universe of Cars, we don't see humans because they simply don't exist anymore. When the cars became sentient beings, they realized there was no need for humans anymore, and they killed them all. To add insult to injury, Ward confirmed that the cars in fact take on the personality of the last person who drove them. This seems to imply that the cars somehow literally consumed all of the people in the world and took on their personalities. Would this make them soul-sucking cars? It doesn't get much worse than that.
Speaking, one thing I would not want them to take over is if they took over all of the personalities of the people driving Lyfts and Ubers in LA.
That sounds miserable.
I got the story for you.
Let's hear it.
So I'm one of those guys. If I get a Lyft or an Uber,
you hope
most of the time, well, actually 100% of the time I missed that.
I'm just kidding.
Oh God, this brings us back to a different story. When I was in Canada on Bender Week, first time I've ever been in a taxi. Okay, I get in the back of a taxi. It's a white guy. I think nothing of it, right? Me and my buddies are in the taxi. About halfway to our destination, we haven't talked to this guy at all. And he goes, probably the last time you'll see a white guy driving a taxi. I was like,
out of nowhere.
And I was clueless. I'm 18 years old. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, not many white guys drive taxis. And that was the last thing he had said the whole rest of the ride. And I'm like, okay, so that makes sense.
Just had to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Right.
But going back to the Lyft and Uber, I probably had a 30-minute drive to Santa Monica, where this house we were shooting at. And I get a notification on my Lyft or on my app. Her name is Cynthia. It says she's hearing impaired. I've never once given somebody less than 5 stars on an Uber app, even if I'm like, this sucked. But it said Cynthia, hearing impaired, learn how to say hello and thank you in sign language. I'm like, there's no way I'm signing to this girl. I'll get in and throw my bags in and
learn how to say hello in sign language. You just learn how to say it?
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's something you do with your thumbs where you pinch in between a finger.
Yeah, you got to be careful doing that in California, dude.
Yeah, throwing up a gang sign.
Yeah, you do one of these. All of a sudden, you're going to have a hole in your chest, dude.
Yeah. So I was like, I can't. And then I thought, maybe I should know it. And I went back to click and it was gone. So I'm like, guess I'm not learning. So I opened the door. She goes, Easton. And I'm like, oh, so you talk? I'm like, yep, Cynthia. She's like, yep. She's like, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. How are you? So right away, I'm like, are you hearing impaired?
You should have did one of these, like where you cover your mouth so she can't read it and go, what the fuck did you just say?
Yeah. Cynthia? So yeah, then I'm like, I'm super confused, right? I got a 30-minute ride with this chick. So then we're going. She's got her window. She's got her window down. And you know when you drive on a freeway with your window down, you get the whoa, 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 whoa,
It hurts your ears.
right?
Yeah.
So this is killing my left ear, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, she might be hearing impaired if she's not being affected by this. So we're driving. I'm starting to get annoyed. The Uber's hot as shit. It's so warm. I'm sweating. I'm like,
So she had the window down.
yeah, must have been. So then supposed to take my exit. She rips past it. I'm like, it's weird. Maybe she's got a quicker one. Gives her another exit, rips past it. Like, where are we going? I'm like, am I getting kidnapped right now? So then we're going a little bit longer. I'm like, I wonder when she's going to turn off.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm like, whatever. She's
And then
pissing me off.
You remembered she's hearing impaired, and so you were in the back seat and you said,
Not quite. But I did do a passive aggressive version of it.
Yeah.
After she missed 2 exits, intentionally or not, I was like, fuck it. Windows goes down, right? And then you hear on my side, whoa, 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 whoa. Immediately sticks your finger in her ear the whole rest of the ride. It just holds it in her ear. And I'm like, I wonder if this is because my window's down and she can hear the wub, 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 right?
yeah.
So she's driving up front, getting the wubs in her left ear from her driver's side window and in the right ear, but she's only got her finger in her right ear for the whole ride. I'm like, I just got to play this out and see how this goes. Finally takes an exit, goes down a street. It's probably 20 blocks in a straight line. Every single block has a stop sign. Every single one. So we'd go 100 feet, hammer the brakes, gun through the intersection 20 times. So I'm like, I'm going to kill this lady. Literally, like, the worst driver. I was getting sick to my stomach. Like, I was getting car sick. Like, wasn't being nice with the, like, I don't know if that's just how, if you grow up in LA, that's how you learn to drive.
Yeah.
You just hammer the brakes, gun
Hammer
it
the
off.
gas.
It was an electric vehicle. So she'd just hammer it and then zoom. I'm like, oh, I'm going to throw up in this back of this Uber. So she finally drops me off. I'm like, thanks, whatever. And I looked at my phone for like 30 seconds. I'm like, do I give her less than 5 stars? I was like, she had a 5-star rating.
Yeah.
No one's ever given her less. And I'm like, and I still gave her 5 stars. But honestly, I kind of want to go back on it, you know?
You want to change it?
Yeah. And then I've debated back and forth.
What's your passenger rating?
4.98, I think. Something like that. Or maybe it's 5 stars.
Baller over here. Jeez.
Well, and then I wasn't sure if it would affect, like, can they tell that I gave them an honest rating?
Probably says, yeah.
You know, if they're like, so-and-so gave you whatever, 3 stars. I got 5-star rating, 52 rides, 4.5 years. So, and then I talked myself into just, I'm like, you know what? Maybe she's having a bad day. Maybe she's an idiot. Either or.
Maybe both.
Just give her 5 stars. Yeah. I'm like, she had her goddamn finger in her ear for 4 miles. Just so crazy. And I was like, maybe I should roll it up because I feel bad. And I'm like, no.
People need punishment when punishment is due.
Yeah. But I just couldn't get myself to do it. I did not tip very much at all, though. I think I tipped $1.
Oh,
Jeez.
Well, there's punishment enough.
So I'm like, I'll give you 5 stars, but you're getting $1 because this was ridiculous. I was 15 minutes later than I should have been because of her fun little stopping game she wanted to do. It was ridiculous. But yeah. Oh, and sorry guys, I'm getting into Uber talk here. When I get to LA on Monday, I get picked up from a guy named Quentin. Whatever. He's fine. Chat me ear off. Give me this whole story about animals and how they attack each other with claws. And I'm like, how did I get myself into this situation, right? Totally fine. Tuesday, I fly to San Francisco. We fly back, get a lift at the airport. Same guy picks me up. What are the odds the same Uber driver picks me up in LA? I get there and he rolls the window down. He's like, what's up, bro? How you been? And I'm like, damn.
How you been?
So he hops out, opens the trunk. I throw my bags in there. I'm like, what are the odds I get 2 Uber drivers like that? It's crazy.
That is something.
Sure as shit. Yeah. And then we just continued the conversation we had the day before. He's like, yeah, so what I was saying yesterday, I'm like, are we doing this? We're
Absolutely.
gonna continue this conversation.
Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I had a Lyft driver last night too, but we'll just skip that story. I almost punched her in the face.
Now I want to hear it.
She's talking mad shit about Minot.
In Bismarck?
I was in Fargo.
Oh, yeah, you're in Fargo.
Yeah. And picked her up, or she picked us up. We hopped in.
Young, old?
She's probably 30, 28 to 30. One of those people that you think, you don't get a ton of attention, so you shit on things so people think you're cool. Does that kind of make sense?
Extremely.
So, yeah, she was saying, I don't know how it got brought up, but she's like, oh, so where are you guys from? And I was like, I'm from Minot. And she's like, ugh, disgusting. And I was like, great start. I got another 9 minutes with you. This sucks. So then I was trying to be jokingly funny. She's like, I can name so many reasons why Minot sucks. And I was like, oh, yeah, name 150. She didn't. She's like, I got a friend that can name a bunch. And I'm like, no, I want you to name 150.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So that was like, I was trying to break the ice a little bit.
Yeah.
Immediately just kept shitting on Minot more. So I'm like, okay, this lady sucks. So then, yeah, we finally end up getting dropped off at the apartment, but like 3 miles before, she goes, so who lives at this apartment? And the person in the back goes, oh, I do. She's like, oh, me too. I'm like, so you're just giving us a ride to your house and we're going with you? So this is getting super weird. And then she dropped us off. She was telling us about how a guy propositioned her and said $100 to go up to his room after the Lyft ride. Cause I was like, oh, what's your craziest Lyft story? She's like, one guy offered me $100 to go up to his room. And like, I'm looking at her, I'm like,
nobody
overpay.
gave you $100.
Right.
This guy's desperate.
She's like, but I told him no, cause my boyfriend's in the police department or whatever. I'm like, okay.
I bet.
So yeah, that rate finally got out, but I'm like, what? This has been a crazy week of Lyft drivers and Uber drivers. So I also got a whole spiel from another one. This is not the guy from LA, just a different one. And he was telling me that breaking down the whole pay system of how Lyft pays you and how it's bullshit.
Why are you doing it?
I'm like, well, yeah. I don't think Lyft is supposed to be like full-time job, but maybe.
You'd have to do it a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, it was very interesting. Oh, and that Quentin guy offered to be my private driver.
That's pretty cool.
He's like,
Especially
hey man.
like if you guys are vibing with each other.
So that was the second ride. And he goes, hey man, if you got any more rides, like just text me and I'll be your private driver. He's like, and then Lyft doesn't take 40% or whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it kind of makes sense. But then I'm like, do I really trust this guy? So he's like, here's my number, and like told it to me, and I put it in my phone, but I never texted him. But I'm like, yeah, I don't want you to be my private driver, and then I get kidnapped in LA. So I didn't do it.
Yeah, there's tons of people around.
But win-win. If I pay $25 for Lyft and he gets $12 of it, I'll say, I'll give you $20. I save $5. You get the whole 20. No one's the wiser.
Pretty solid. You could have had it set up there.
It's a very eventful week. Uber and Lyft drivers.
Hey, you're really getting a smorgasbord of personality.
Oh God, I know. It's incredible. But that's all my Lyft stories for now. If I think of any more, I'll let you know.
Yeah,
Please.
Sorry, I kind of took over the last 22 minutes.
That's what we're here for, man. I don't care. I'm just excited to hear about your weekend. LA in general. How was it?
Nah.
Eat anything good?
No, Chipotle like 9 times.
Serious?
Yeah. DoorDash to my hotel.
What'd you do? I was going to send you a link to a little snippet of a podcast I thought you should listen to. But what do you do when you're there? You're filming in the morning, filming in the afternoon, and then...
Well, the place I was filming, the office and the hotel in LAX, the airport, were all within a quarter mile of each other. So I just stayed right there. Did nothing. Didn't go in any restaurants, didn't go anywhere.
Nothing?
Nope.
Were you there for like 4 days?
I was there
3?
Monday to Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd go to the office, I'd film, go back to the hotel, I was tired. Tuesday I went to San Francisco, so we weren't even there. Thursday went to Arizona, so we weren't even there. Friday we went to Santa Monica. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, and people always say, I'd love to travel for work. It sucks. It's not that fun compared to like a vacation. If you go somewhere to golf, like if I had to go work in Orlando versus go golf in Orlando, it's way different.
Completely.
Yeah. And people that are like, I love flying. No, you don't. Flying sucks too.
You're
sitting in
just
a plane.
excited where you're going.
You like the destination.
Yeah. You don't enjoy the
But-
flight. I tell you one thing, every time I get a plane, I go,
Yeah. Sucks. Oh my gosh.
who
I
am I
almost,
going to want to kill?
almost threw up on the plane too. We were going to San Francisco and apparently
Somebody smelly?
no.
Oh.
I did smell on the last flight though because I almost missed the flight. So I was running through the gates. And did I tell that story about the Delta lady? Oh my gosh. I'll tell that in a second. But no, it rained in LA, which I didn't know it did. So I don't know if I brought the bad weather. And we took off and I thought that was the only time I've ever been in a plane where I thought I was going to crash. I was literally like telling who's that one guy in like Norway that goes into really cold water and apparently just doesn't affect his body?
Joe Rogan.
No.
Oh,
Some really old guy that can just go and
Hans Christian Andersen.
No, that's I think he's at the Who's Fest.
Smitty, Worker
I had
Beggar
you,
Man
though.
Jensen. He bit.
Worker Beggar Man Jensen.
He bit.
Nathan, you should see what the guy that does the really cold water
Cold
stuff.
water guy.
Anyways, I was doing his breathing technique on the plane. I was like, and I had the AC on my head just blasting on my head.
Taking it all in.
Yeah.
Wim Hof.
Wim Hof.
Wim Hof.
That dude is a
Yeah.
baller, dude.
Wim Hof. What a
Wim
name.
Hof.
How can you not be a baller with the name of Wim Hof?
Like he's like the only, like the first and only white guy to be accepted by like Tibetan monks,
Yeah.
like as part of like their higher up hierarchy of
That's
shit.
not true.
That's 100% true.
That's
It's
not true.
I'm accepted.
Pull that up. Nathan, fact check that because that's doesn't make any sense.
Wim Hof is
Wim Hof,
like he
Tibetan
Tibetan
monk.
monk.
the reason why he's
Tibetan.
so good at this cold weather stuff is because they like taught him their breathing techniques.
No, they didn't.
And he taught me for being on that plane,
Being serious.
You know a lot of things.
but not that.
The Tibetans are not
Tibetans.
just taking this cat in off the alley.
They didn't. And this is no ordinary alley cat.
If
This is
David
Wim
Hasselhoff couldn't land another Baywatch movie, then they're not letting this guy.
David Wim Hof.
David's dead,
Hasselhoff is dead?
isn't he?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
don't
Him and
think guys-
Patrick Swayze are the same person.
I don't
in
think
my
guys
mind,
like that
and
die.
One of them's definitely dead.
Dude, they're definitely not even remotely close to anything. How do you have those two linked in your brain together?
80s weird movies.
It's weird movies.
Okay, I guess.
Different movies from the 80s.
Yeah. But while Nathan finds that, so my second flight to Arizona, on the way back, I had to sprint through the gates because we're getting late for the flight. You know how that goes. So you
I've
got to get through
lived
security.
to be at airports and look at people stressed
And I
out
didn't want
run,
to be that person
running.
either.
Because you and I talked about this, about how funny it is to be at the airport and just minding your business all
Yeah,
all
on
fine.
time.
And then you look
Seeing
at some
people
people
run.
and you look at them just so flustered, sprinting through the airport,
Yeah.
like never been more bamboozled in their life.
And that was me. It was
Yeah.
horrible.
Oh, I'd
So-
pay money to see that.
So I didn't have TSA pre-check. The people I was with did. So they get walk right through security.
Yeah.
And I told myself for 2 weeks leading up to this,
Do you feel like a schmuck at that moment?
If
Yeah.
you're going to be flying this much, you better.
well, I have access to TSA pre-check for free and I just haven't done it.
Wim Hof?
Dude,
So I just forget.
Can't
I,
find
I
him.
can't find anything on him being like
I knew it.
a monk.
Doesn't mean it's not true. And I know
Blowing
it's true.
smoke. It's how do you know? If
How do
it's nothing, he has an entire laptop full of knowledge there.
I guarantee you put my noggin against that laptop and one of them is going to be autistic.
Yeah.
I know where I'm putting my money.
Hoff Wim is not doing it.
But
Anyways.
anyways, getting back to running through the airport. So I finally get to, I go to the first gate and this guy that looks like he plays Dungeons and Dragons
God.
is running the security. It is going slower than anything I've ever seen in an airport. And he goes, go to gate C. They got 2 lines. And I'm like, you think walking all the way to gate C and then walking all the way back to gate D after I get through is quicker? He's like, well, 2 lines is quicker than 1. I'm like, I don't think you understand the distance I have to travel to get there and back, though. And he's like, just shrugged his shoulders at me. So I'm like, well, I'll
Maybe.
try it. So I sprint from gate D to gate C. Finally get there. Get in line at TSA. There's a family of 6 in front of me, each with 4 bags to their name.
Oh,
I'm like, holy Lord.
That's insane.
So I'm like watching him go up and I'm like, should I just ask? I'm like, boarding closes in 7 minutes for my flight. So I said, can I skip you guys? I'm like, my boarding closes in 7 minutes. And they're like, oh yeah, sure. Good luck. Like cheering me on. So I'm like, okay, rip through security, sprint all the way back to the gate, barely get in there. I'm one of the last people to get on the plane. I'm huffing and puffing, man. Like it is, my calves are killing me. I had a 30-pound backpack on. And I finally get on and I can tell like I'm sweating. My BO is probably just lingering a little bit. So I finally get on the plane. It's a Southwest flight. Have you guys ever flown Southwest?
Maybe.
No seat assignment. You would know if you've flown it.
No.
It's a free for all. It's the most criminal shit on earth. You just get on the plane and pick a seat.
Yeah.
Wherever you want. So I get on there and one of the last people, 3 seats on each side, all of the aisles and all of the window seats down the whole plane are taken. And then all the middle seats are open. So I'm like,
you got to ruin somebody.
Yeah. So I'm like, whose day am I going to ruin? So I'm walking down and I see
the most attractive girl on the flight.
No.
You go, I'm going to sit next to you and shit all flight.
I see a flight attendant standing in an aisle seat, like leaning up against the front or the back of the chair in front of her. In my head, I'm thinking, you see flight attendants when they're standing there and they're like waiting for you to walk by. So I'm like, oh, is anyone sitting there? And I point at her seat. She's like, I have no idea. So I'm like, oh, perfect. No one must be sitting there. So I throw my bag up top. She slides out. I sit down in the aisle seat. I'm like, what are the odds? There's an aisle seat open. Sit there. I put my backpack in the middle seat. She's sitting there looking at me. I'm like, what's up? She's like, I'm sitting there. And I'm like, what do you mean you're sitting
You're the flight attendant.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean you're sitting here? And she goes, I don't work for this airline. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, I'm a flight attendant for a different airline.
Then why wouldn't you be attending that airline?
So I'm like, so you're just dressed as a flight attendant on a different airline flying? She's like, yeah. So I'm like, okay. So immediately there's no option to go back now. I just scoot to the middle seat. So then I'm sitting next to this lady for an hour, but I'm like, who says that? I have no idea. Is anyone sitting there? I have no idea. She thought I was probably pointing to the middle seat.
Yeah.
And one, you should have an idea if there's someone sitting in the seat next to you. So yeah, and then that was the time that I knew I smelled like ass. Like every time I moved my arm, I could smell.
You should have, she was just like,
yeah,
that's my seat. You should have said was.
And when I wear my shoes, yeah,
not anymore.
No, this is your seat. And when my shoes get like stinky, right?
Yeah.
And if I wear them for a long time, so I'm sprinting through the airport. These things are not great. And I could smell my feet too. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, good.
You want to know who's
the whole way.
Funny to look at in an airport? Nick Gorsey.
Why?
Oh my!
Because that man is in the biggest rush every time for no reason, and it's just funny.
For no reason.
We got out of the car in Orlando this last December, and he like doesn't say a word, and like we're all me, him, and Alex are there talking, grabbing our bags. We turn around. He is inside the airport already. We haven't even like closed the car doors yet.
Took off.
Just anxious or
so anxious. Like first, like right there, like loaded up his bag, got his checked luggage. Cool, thanks, gone. We didn't see him until we got on the plane.
Yep.
He's like, I got to get to my gate, make sure it exists, and then I can hang out. It was
nuts.
It's Orlando Sanford. There's like 4 gates. Like it's the size of the Minot Airport. It's not very big at all.
Yeah. It was
hilarious, man.
Took off.
I can see how airports can be stressful sometimes if you're going to a big one, but if it's a small airport, dude, you could show up in Minot or Bismarck or Sanford, it sounds like 30 minutes before your flight.
Yeah.
That's what I do in Minot every time.
Yeah.
Oh, I take off at 7. I'll probably get to TSA at like 6:30.
Yeah.
I walk through. Bored.
But I'm with you on that. I think every time I fly back home, not like leaving town because it's such a small airport, it doesn't matter. But every time on the return flight, TSA pre-check is going to happen.
Yeah.
Every time. I'll pay the $30 to not wait in that line.
You can pay it at the airport?
No, like you can you buy it on the app or whatever when you go to select your seats on the Allegiant flights or whatever.
No, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do have access to pre-check and I just there's no place in Minot you can do it. You have to go to Bismarck to get certified and everything. Sucks.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you do. I don't know. It offered me that on the return flight or something like that. But
I could see it at a bigger airport.
You probably have to be certified.
Yeah.
To be able to do it.
What do you got to take classes?
Yeah.
You have to become a Tibetan monk.
They got to do
Certain
breathing exercises.
Yeah, it's pretty serious.
But yeah, I think TSA pre-check, one shorter line, and then you still like don't have to take your belt and shoes off. Yeah, they're like no cavity searches if you're pre-check. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, but if you're going to the
where's the cavity? Where's the cavity search
can I
line?
get one of those, please. Actually,
I'll have what he's having.
Anyone these days, if you're going to the airport dressed in anything higher class than what I'm wearing right now, you're a fool.
Yeah.
or
Amen to
a
that.
businessman, because I'm wearing B's that will easily slip on and off. Nice pair of sweatpants.
Yep. I always go to the airport with my shoes untied, so then I can pop them off.
I was
9/11 really screwed us for taking our shoes off.
Yeah.
What do you?
I have giant bombs in the bottom of my shoes.
Yeah, definitely the worst thing about 9/11 was,
the towers.
I guess that too.
Yeah,
was a tough one.
Saved you there. You were gonna say something that was much less worse. Than
Yeah,
the two
airport
towers.
lines.
Oh, yeah, that'll happen. Yeah, it's crazy. Before 9/11, you could just walk in with a briefcase,
Yeah.
just get on the plane.
Said, all right, here we go. I don't even know if I experienced such a thing.
What do you mean?
Just walking into an airplane. Probably not.
I didn't. No.
You
It
can't
was
even go to a
2001.
baseball game without getting
metal detectors and stuff.
probed and shit.
Depends.
You want to give
Depends
us a rundown of the good ones on your notes? Sorry, we kind of took over this with airport talk.
What
are we at, Nathan?
Garfield is dying of starvation.
What are we at?
Oh,
Hour?
what the hell? He's not. Are you kidding me? I watched that little fat ass eat a whole tray of lasagna.
Peter
Bullshit,
Pan is
he's
the
starving.
angel of death. That was a good one. I'll hit those two.
All right. What are we at,
then
Nathan?
we'll
Hour
call it.
15? Hour 10? Hour?
Hour 4.
Hour 4.
Hour 4.
That's fine.
Good couple to end on, yeah. Garfield is dying of starvation. Most people
Legend.
would scoff at the theory of a starving Garfield, like my friend just did over here. The cat whose life revolves around eating, how could he be starving? Well, surprisingly enough, there's a strip from the Garfield comic series that suggests exactly that. In this comic strip from 1989, Garfield wakes up in an old, abandoned house without John or Odie. He starts to completely lose his mind as he tries to find them, until suddenly they both appear out of nowhere. The strangest part of this strip is the final scene that reads, "An imagination is a powerful tool. It can tint memories of the past, shape perceptions of the present, or paint a future so vivid that it can entice or terrify, all depending upon how we conduct ourselves today." It's unclear whether this comic strip has dark implications for the rest of the series, or if the author Jim Davis was just having a little fun messing with the readers.
What a morbid thing about an orange fat ass cat.
Yeah, what if it's just an orange starving alley cat, and that's exactly what they're talking about? He's imagining himself gorging on lasagna
What's
every
with
day.
the fascination of lasagna though, as a cat?
Italian.
Cheese, sauce.
Italian cat.
Must be, yeah, all orange cats are Italian.
There's
That's why they're
nothing
so weird.
Italian about Garfield though,
He's
He loves lasagna.
other than fat
It's a
and stinky.
mustache.
That's the only thing
Duh.
about Garfield that's Italian is fat and stinky.
Stinky? How do you know he's stinky? Because
Look
he's
at him.
fat. Because he's a fat cat that eats his body weight in lasagna.
Yeah,
Stinky
It's
cat.
like I
dude.
smell the comics all the time. Smell them right
He
through
probably is a stinky little cat.
that's pretty Italian though.
Little goober.
All
Greasy.
Italians stink too.
It's true. They're greasy as hell.
The Italians and the French, smelly breeds.
Oh God.
Smelly
What about the Mongols?
breeds.
And the Mongols too.
That's a given.
Peter Pan is the angel of death. Like many children's cartoons, Peter Pan was a story in its own right, long before it saw animating room. The classic story by James Barrie actually opens up with all children except one grow up. This was reference to Peter Pan, and also possibly to Barrie's younger brother who died as a child. In the original story, Peter Pan actually killed the Lost Boys when they became adults, which is why nobody ever grew up in Neverland. Fast forward to the modern version of Peter Pan, and Barry's dark origins are still present. Peter Pan's main goal is to take Wendy, John, and Michael Darling with him to Neverland, a place where children stay children forever, and preferably never leave it either. While Peter doesn't appear to be killing the Lost Boys anymore, he does appear to still be bringing children to Neverland in hopes of staying with him.
Isn't Neverland where Michael
This
Jackson
definitely
was at?
seems... No, that was different. This definitely seems like Angel of Death behavior, as he becomes incredibly angry and selfish when the darling children express interest in leaving after he's already brought them over to the other side. Ooh.
Is that not... You're telling me Michael Jackson isn't... Where is the place where he brought the kids?
Neverland.
Probably Neverland, yeah.
Maybe that's what they called it because Peter Pan does that with kids.
Yeah, it's
And
similar.
Michael Jackson
Does
there's
something else.
there's a
with
little
kids.
bit of allegation, speculation.
Legend.
Yeah, little thing that he's
Big Michael Jackson fan.
humping kids.
Yeah.
Whether kids or not, music was up there.
Phenomenal.
You can't take away from his
Phenomenal.
greatness.
No, it's kind of
Yeah.
like
Bill Cosby's comedy.
Yeah.
the shoe fits. I mean,
Just saying, what are things, people that have accomplished great things,
like
but also did something bad? OJ?
Right. OJ, yeah. I mean, dude,
he
how many
said
rushing yards did he have that year?
He was
Like-
not guilty.
A lot.
Like 2,000.
I want to say 1,900.
Like how many? Yeah, how many yards did OJ have that year? What is it, like 86?
86 yards?
No, 80.
1986.
What year?
I don't remember.
His
Just-
murder year.
it-
OJ
Yeah, and
rushing yards murder year.
If OJ never would have got traded to the Bills, the Kardashians wouldn't be famous.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Do you
The
know
whole
that's,
chain of
that's why the
events.
Kardashians are famous?
because their
O.J.
dad.
Simpson?
Yeah, Kim
He was an Olympic
Kardashian's-
athlete.
No, that's their stepdad.
Oh.
Rob Kardashian was the lawyer for O.J. Simpson.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
that's why the Kardashians are famous.
Mm-hmm.
So if he never would have got traded to Buffalo, he never would have went to trial for allegedly killing his wife.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Glove it in.
So he
fit.
never would have
He
had
must have quit.
Rob Kardashian as his lawyer.
There was one other lawyer too that I really like that guy's name.
Saul.
You know it? Better Call Saul.
Better call Saul.
Yeah. Harvey
I don't know.
Specter.
Good ass lawyer. You got to remind me what year that was that he
Hurry up.
94.
94.
I knew it.
And how many yards
Yeah,
was
does
it?
he have his rushing yards on there?
Trying to look up the day or the year.
The season total.
OJ 94 rush yards.
But
There's murder on the
Yeah,
dance
I don't
floor. All right.
this has been
Oh,
oh,
there
there
we
it
go.
is.
Yeah, you guys have just listened to another episode if you made it this far.
This was Conspiracies and Airports.
Yeah.
Thank
Cartoon
you.
conspiracies in
And
airports.
Cannot find it for 1994.
Maybe we didn't play that year. That was his murder year.
Next week,
Broden's mic's out. That's
It's
okay.
fine.
we're going to probably do this again. So,
Have you been
He muted you.
on purpose?
Sorry, Liam, go ahead.
Accidentally.
Take us off the show.
yeah. Thanks. See you next week.
We're going to do this again next week, Liam said, which is true.
Broden's on notes next week. Tune in. Those ones are usually decent.
Yeah, why don't we get a little bit of feedback of something you guys want to hear? We haven't had some fan feedback in a while, probably because we haven't put a lot of episodes out in a while. So
Hey, we're back on the train, though. We're not missing another one
Yeah.
for at
Another
least
few weeks.
I'm going to say at least 20 weeks.
if you love Liam burping in your ear hole for a good hour and 15 minutes, then
I
definitely
didn't
watch
do it
this.
for an hour and 15 minutes. Badass.
Garfield.
Did it once.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.